Hello guys, my name is Max. I'm a postdoc at University of British Columbia. I used to be a PhD student at UC Berkeley. So in this video I want to compare those two universities based on three criteria: housing, transportation, and what you can do in the city and outside of the city. Let's start with the first one, housing. So let's actually look at the map and let's start with the University of California, Berkeley. So you can see it's located in California, in the Bay Area, and the nice part about UC Berkeley, which is located right here, that it's surrounded by the city. There is like Albany, Berkeley, Oakland, Berkeley Mountains over here. And the nice part about it that we have a lot of different opportunities to find housing. And even if you're going to find housing like pretty far from Berkeley, like in Richmond or in Oakland, the public transportation and Berkeley BART is like Berkeley Metro. It's pretty nice. It goes pretty often, so you always can get to the campus relatively fast. Also, if you like to risk, you can find some housing in San Francisco. I know that a couple of my friends, graduate students, they found housing there. It's slightly more challenging because in order to get to San Francisco, you either need to take the BART, the metro there, or the bus, or you need to drive by car. But crossing this bridge car every time costs right now $7 or $8. And you cannot rely how long does it take to cross this bridge, because one day I spent 2 hours when I was picking up my mom from the San Francisco airport, which is here right by the way. So it's not reliable at all. The average price to find the housing right now, the affordable, so let me tell about my experience. I found my first apartment around this area over here, this park somewhere here, and I paid $1,000. It was in 2018, and for that time that was super cheap. I had my own room in a 2-bedroom apartment, and it was around 30-minute walk. So to walk from here to here to my math department was around 30 minutes, which was nice. My second housing opportunity where I lived, I stayed somewhere in this area, and in that case I had a room in 7-bedroom house, and I paid around $1,250. And my distance to the campus was around 25 minutes. So on average you can find the housing between $1,000 and $1,600 as a single room. Next, let's go to UBC. So the difference for UBC, you can see that right now it's located not in the city, it's located outside of the city, and it's actually separated by all of the majority of the housing by this forest. And currently I live here in downtown. The nice thing about Postdoc that you're able to afford your own place, single bedroom or a studio. I have a studio, but unfortunately in Canada, since Berkeley area and Bay Area is really expensive, and the University of British Columbia is located in British Columbia, which is even more expensive. One of the reasons because we pay everything here in Canadian dollars. We receive smaller salary, but we pay the same amount and even more. So I pay around $2,000 for my studio, which is located here in downtown with everything. But people are able to find some housing on campus, which is usually super expensive because it assumes that it's on campus. They have majority, all the housing are new and stuff. But you can find outside of the campus for also if you're lucky, you can find some studio for $1,700-$1,800. But majority of the housing for 2-bedroom apartments cost at least let's say $2,400-$2,500. Another thing is the transportation. The nice thing about UC Berkeley that for the most of the time, if you have a car, you will not pay that much for parking as we have city parking. I don't remember how much we paid, because for the majority of the time all housing comes with their own parking spot, for which you don't pay any extras. And you don't have any extra taxes on having the car or whatever. So the only expenses for the car are going to be insurance, your own gas, and your own other stuff that you do for the car. The only expenses that we have, like, they are only like insurance, gas, and other car expenses. Plus, whenever if you want to drive to San Francisco, there you need to pay for parking and for crossing the bridge with around like $7 or $8. Another thing is UBC. At British Columbia, unfortunately, first, you have 25 or 30% tax for any parking. And whenever you're looking for the place where you want to park the car, first of all, not every apartment building or not every like property even offer you parking opportunities. And even if they offer you, you pay some extra for them. And let's say you want to pay like extra like $100, but additionally for this extra $100 to your rent, you're also going to pay extra 25% of the taxes on parking, because that's how they pay for all their bridges, roads, and expenses, and that's how they incentivize people not to have cars, basically, as I understand. And what is the most ridiculous thing, additional to those 25% of the taxes, you pay taxes on those 25%. So they tax the tax in Canada, which is pretty funny. And but that's like the best case scenario, like $100, because the worst case scenario, which I paid, like was the cheapest parking which I found at the time, was $200 plus 25% and plus another 5%. So I end up paying for parking around like extra $20-70. And additionally, their insurance, which is also ridiculously expensive in Canada. And my car window got broken, so that's why I paid like extra $300 or $400 for that. So yeah, having like a car in British Columbia is not nice. But what is good about the two cities, Berkeley and Vancouver, is that the public transportation here is pretty good. So whenever you need to reach somewhere, you can reach there pretty fast. But I like the public transportation in Canada better, as they have more buses, they're newer, and then you can reach from point A to point B is pretty fast, because they have like fast track buses or something like that. And finally, what you can do in the city. Since UBC is pretty isolated, one of the major decisions to find a place in downtown Vancouver, there is so much to do in downtown Vancouver. And overall, thinking about the Vancouver area, is upgraded area of Berkeley, because first of all, we have not only like Berkeley Hills, we have the entire mountains of Canada up north. So whenever if you want to go like skiing, hiking, isolate yourself and just spend the entire weekend doing math in a cabin, you have a lot of opportunities for do this. So that's why I'm pretty excited. You just rent a car, because having a car in Canada is, especially in British Columbia, is pretty expensive, and just go and explore. The nice thing to live in downtown Vancouver, that you have so many things to do here, and they are pretty vibrant. You can go there, you have like different cuisines. One time I stopped by some bookstore and I talked to a person who like doing like recovery of old books in the third generations, and they're from England, and I saw with my own eyes the 14th century book written not by Aristotle, but I don't remember actually exactly. So you can see you have like downtown Vancouver, you have like other cities, you have nature, the mountains, then there are so many things to do. And the same thing is pretty similar to UC Berkeley, because when you're going to go to UC Berkeley, you can see that in the Bay Area, we also have a lot of nature where you can go do hiking. We have a lot of cities to explore. San Francisco, which is on its own ride, has amazing opportunities for different type of fun. And that's nice thing about living on the West Coast in a big city. There is always something to do there. Another difference is, of course, the salary. In Berkeley, I was receiving around like $3,500-$3,600. In Canada, I receive more. I receive around $4,200 after taxes for both universities after taxes. but they're also like Canadian dollars. But the problem is like when you receive more money, you're paying higher taxes. So basically, I think I was receiving more in terms of salary as a PhD student in the United States in comparison as being postdoc in Canada. Thank you so much for watching. I today just discussed like 3 main components of living in 2 different large cities as a PhD math student and as a math postdoc. You can see they're pretty similar, the only difference in their location. And another thing about PhD and postdoc, the lifestyles, and that I'm going to cover in another video. Otherwise, please leave your comments and your feedback like below. Let me know if you have any questions. I really value your opinion, and you have a nice day, and thank you so much. Bye bye.